Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Gino Grieco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today we are going to be discussing Sorry We're Closed, which is a video game that you can play on the personal computer or other consoles, I assume. Joining me, as always, to discuss spooky games that have vaguely lesbian themes. Pete Busby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I am excited to talk about this one. It's an interesting game, that parallels some other things we might have played, but we'll discuss. Our fun fact this week, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole when I saw somebody posted somewhere that male alligators are sexually attracted to tubas B flat, like the note. I was like,
Okay.
right? I was like, first off, this can't possibly be true. Second, even if it were, how do you measure the sexual arousal of alligators? So I looked into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked into it, and I found an article on UPI. Don't know what this stands for. I probably should have looked that up. But researchers in Kissimmee, Florida, were attempting to replicate a 1944 experiment, response of captive alligators to auditory stimulation, conducted at the Museum of Natural History in New York. So in 1944, middle of World War II, so probably nothing better to do, a bunch of researchers decided to test the response of alligators to a tone of approximately 57 hertz and found that they did in fact respond to it pretty aggressively. Now, how that got turned to tuba B flats and sexual arousal, I have no idea. I'm expecting it's some sort of internet mumbo jumbo. So long story short, male alligators like tones of approximately 57 hertz. Whether or not they are sexually attracted to them, I could not tell you.
So, do we think in the original research we were trying to weaponize alligators?
That's a good question.
For
I mean,
World War II.
Yes, for World War II, like strategic tactical alligators. We play this note and it activates them.
I mean, what did we do? We did pigeons, we did bats.
I know,
Yeah.
that's what I
Bomb
mean.
diffusing
Yeah,
dolphins.
that's true.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like we put alligators under the floorboards in the Fjord bunker and then we're going to play this note and they will be activated.
I saw that. They're like, the eagle's nest. What's the eagle's natural predator? I know, the alligator.
Yep. That other voice you heard earlier is one M. Palladino. Welcome to the show, Em. How you doing?
Hello. I'm M Palladino. I'm Game Maker M all over the internet. You can find me on Blue Sky and you can play my games on Itch if you look me up there. I'm trying to do a more normal podcaster opening.
Whoa!
I've done it twice
Wow.
now. Hopefully it sticks, because I would like people to play my games.
I think we all would, yeah.
Yeah.
Game Maker M, you say?
Game Maker M, the letter M. Yes.
How do I find you on LinkedIn?
Don't.
Okay. I mean, I thought we were
I don't want to
networking
be.
here.
I don't want to be found on LinkedIn. I don't even know if I have a LinkedIn anymore, and I don't want to get one. If I
Listeners,
have
create a
to,
LinkedIn for M if you have the time.
please don't. Yes, poses me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll get many job opportunities. I'm very employable. I don't know what else you do on LinkedIn. Anyway,
Please God, not social network. That's the
Yeah,
saddest type of social networking you can do, I feel.
allow somebody who probably spends too much time on LinkedIn to say a brief thing. The meta for LinkedIn posts drives me absolutely bonkers. I
wait,
hate it
what?
so.
Hold on.
Oh, so.
Say more.
They all basically do the same thing. They post one sentence
Mhm.
and then contradict that sentence in the second sentence, new paragraph, second sentence, and then it's just a series of single sentences the whole way down. I hate it so much.
What?
Is it just to take up vertical space?
I guess. I don't know. Like it always goes the same way where they're like, I thought Coca-Cola made a huge PR mistake, but then I saw the numbers. And then it like
Oh,
breaks down or whatever. It's always like that.
you're
And it
getting
annoys me to know it.
yeah, yeah. You're getting clickbaited. Is what's happening.
Oh yeah, it's
That's
all
a
the power
robot.
toasters or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. Don't click on those.
I don't
Oh,
Does
click on
it
anything.
have? Does it have a read more? Like, you gotta click it in order to actually read the whole thing,
Yeah.
and they never actually get to the point. Yeah, they're just
I
trying to
don't know
get
if
you
it
to
gets
click
to the
on it.
point. I've never finished it.
No, they don't.
I hate that.
Yep.
Before we get to discussing Sorry We're Closed, a reminder you can get in touch with the show at deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. That is our email address. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens, which would get you access to our Discord. At the $3 OG Soncast tier, you get access to the OG Soncast. Pete, what did you record? What's coming up next?
Gino, I'm glad you asked. And, I'm not stalling for time to look up the next title. I'm just genuinely expressing my excitement about
Holy
answering
Cooley
this
was just
question.
recorded, isn't up
Yes.
yet. Might be
Fully
up
Cooley,
when
we
you hear
just
this.
did. Short, it's only 6 episodes, not the podcast, Fully Cooley, the series. So I encourage everybody, check out not only the OG Soundcast, but if you're going to listen to it, watch Fully Cooley ahead of time, too. It won't take you that long, and it's a pretty interesting show. Next one up is Martian Successor Nadesico. I can tell you nothing about this. I haven't started yet, hadn't heard of it before it was picked. I'm excited to try something new.
It's a
Yeah.
fake show name.
Yeah. Braden said that name, and I was like, "You're making these shows up.
I
This is
made
not
him
real."
repeat it like 6 times before I could even
Yeah, I bet.
remember it long enough to write it down.
Great. Great.
Hmm.
Well, if you were to support the show, we have hit our 50 sub goal. We are now chugging towards 60. We will report what our 60 sub goal is when we have one. We are currently deliberating whether we want to punish ourselves again or play a good game that might be popular that you might want us to play. I don't know. That might
Please,
be
God,
fun for once.
please, can we play a good game
What if we
just
played
for
Baldur's Gate
just
3 or
once?
something? Or, I don't
Ooh.
know. Like a fun game. What would happen then? I don't know. Never happens.
Let's think about it.
You could get access to the Discord just by supporting the show and what's going on in the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop, ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. This week on the Discord report, there's the Final Fantasy set in Magic. We have all the spoilers for the cards now, and that
Is
has been a hot ticket item in the Discord.
is this the first
Uh,
time this has happened? I feel like we've been talking about this
yes,
for like years.
it has been in the works for a while.
Okay.
It is now coming out this month.
It's coming out. The
Uh,
pre-release is this weekend.
yes, so
How many
everyone is looking forward to it.
how many cards will
More
there be? What are
at
like 50?
over 300.
That is so many cards.
Yeah.
Yep. There was a lot
Uh,
of discussion of which sets got robbed, which sets did
mhm.
not have enough cards, which sets had too many cards, or which game had too many cards. I think the consensus was there are probably too many 7 and 14 cards by a little bit, and there's probably not enough
Let's hold on now. Let's
5
not
cards.
let's not say consensus. This is your
I think
opinion.
there was a consensus. I think
I'm pretty sure I showed the numbers in a handy chart, and it was not that far off
So
from
I
others.
I agree with
Yes.
Gino that there are too many cards in 7 and 14, but I
Yep.
also think there are too many cards in 1 through 6,
Yep.
8 through 13, and anything above 14. I don't know how high the
Hmm.
numbers go.
Yep. Um. Yeah.
well,
You're probably right. I
who,
guess
me
we'll
or
find
Pete?
out. Pete.
Oh,
There's probably no reason for any of this. It's to make a lot of money. That's the reason. and it sure is going to, because I work at a card store, and people have been calling for probably since January, being like, "Can you hold us a box?" And we were like, "No, we don't even know how many boxes there will be." So
Yeah,
Are they
they
getting
that's coming out.
tariffed? These tariffed?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Like
They
I
Final
don't
don't
Fantasy
know
gets
seem
where they're
Trump,
coming
they
from.
tariff these cards.
don't seem notably more expensive, Pete, than
Okay.
regular set. I would say, other than the fact that it's very people want it.
Right.
Yes.
There's high demand.
Mhm.
I have pre-ordered the Final Fantasy X Commander deck and one box for myself after not buying any Magic the Gathering products for 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
Because they got me. I'm sorry. They got me. I'm
They
bad.
saw you coming. They were like, "You know what? We're gonna do this one for the Final Fantasy weirdos, and we'll never have to do it again." Um, Other than that, what else is going on in the Discord? Pete, you made some chicken.
Yeah, I made some chicken.
Looks
I
pretty good.
made, yeah, it was chicken shawarma. I did, y'all, spices are so expensive. I don't know that it was worth it.
What spices did you put on the shawarma?
Cumin, cardamom, cayenne pepper. There's something else in there too.
Chili powder.
No,
It would be redder if there was chili
smoked
powder
paprika,
involved.
Smoked paprika, that makes
Mm.
which
sense.
is different from regular paprika. Bonus fun fact for everybody.
Sure is. Hey,
Yeah.
you learned something new today, listener.
Yep,
Huh. Is it the smoking that makes it different?
it is. It makes it smoky.
Wow. Whoa.
I know.
Those are not expensive spices, just to
Yeah.
say.
Like
Yes.
$6
Pretty
a
common.
bottle. They were out of the
All
store
right.
brand. I had to like bump to the McCormick or whatever.
I don't
It's
even
not
know what
like
that
you're
is.
getting oh, what is it? Dang it. They use it in
Saffron.
paella. Yeah, it's not like you're getting saffron or something.
Mm.
Or vanilla beans.
I don't know, man. It's more expensive than salt. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, it is more expensive than salt. That is true. Also, how did your taste buds feel about it?
They appreciated it. There was a lengthy discussion between my taste buds and my wallet. And I'll tell you who won after I finished the leftovers, but it was very tasty. And I made a yogurt sauce to go with it.
What?
Uh-huh.
You made a sauce for it too?
I know, Gino.
Like a real boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look at you. Well,
Anyway.
I think that's pretty much.
Oh wait, one
everything.
more thing. The only other thing going on in the Discord is Off the Deep End has been playing Lunar Dragon Song. If you pop into ZP or Braden's streams, you will know that that is occurring. And also, I got in on it, and I played through that game, and I'm gonna be on that show. Yay!
What's the elevator pitch for Lunar Dragon Song, Em? Give me one sentence. What am I talking here?
Okay, do you know JRPGs?
Yes?
It's one of those,
Okay.
and
That
it's
was a
not very
good
good.
summary.
It is imagine the most generic RPG you can think of.
Yeah.
Regular ass boy with a girl who is his friend, but not his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
One of
and
them's
they
got
are
cat ears. I see the box art here.
well, yes, that is not the girlfriend. The girlfriend is the pink-haired girl.
Sure.
And then you
She's
get
some
some
sort of
other.
cleric.
Yes, yeah, you got it. You can tell just from the box art. Yeah. There are dragons. You go on a big quest. Your girlfriend might be the goddess that controls the world,
I believe
and
it. Hate when that
yep,
happens, or love when that happens. Is that good?
mm,
And let me ask
uh, it
one more
happens.
question. I'm on the
Yes.
Wikipedia page right now. I'm not planning on
Okay.
reading too much of it. But
Okay.
I see that we're trying to save the world from the rising menace of the Vile tribe. Are they
Yeah.
actually called the Vile tribe in the game?
Yes, they are. They
No.
sure are.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's not very good. And also, you never really even interact with them. They're just kind of like something the NPCs that you talk to in town mention sometimes. Yeah, it never comes up. But the leader of them is the big bad guy, and the way the game ends, something happens to him, and I'm like, that's weird. So if you want to know more about that, you should listen to our coverage of that. It's probably coming out next week after this podcast comes out. And
I think
also,
that
all of the mechanics are bad.
checks out.
Mhm.
I think it's time for my obsession of the week.
Go for it.
I watched Sinners.
Oh hell yeah!
I
It's
heard
real
good
good.
things. I
It's
never made
real
it into the
good.
theater.
As per your
It's
recommendation, I watched it. It's good.
Thank you. Yeah, I recommended it. I think in by hijacking your obsession, uh, and mentioning that you need to go watch it, and I will repeat that here. You should go watch it. It might
And
be on streaming by now.
I'm using my obsession to co-sign this because now I've seen it and
Mhm.
can say it is very good. I like how it ends a whole lot. I like the middle a whole lot. The beginning also
Mhm.
great. Um,
Can
I
I?
went to a Alamo Draft House to watch it, and they
Mm.
have infinite refills on popcorn, and the popcorn comes in a little bowl because they popped it fresh.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
I do like the Alamo.
Like the
They do
Texas
like dinner,
institution or
or it's the Alamo. What? Not
Alamo Draft House.
Alamo Draft
Yeah,
House?
Alamo Draft House. I thought I got the name wrong. Um, they do like dinner
Yeah,
service too.
I had dinner
Nice.
service and some popcorn just for hanging around, and they had infinite refills on iced tea. So it
Hmm.
was prices for the food are not outrageous for a dinner theater. So
Nice. Can I
if
do
you
a
can
hijacking?
watch it there, do it. Yeah, go for it.
I also watched Mountainhead yesterday. Just came out
I don't know
via
this.
HBO Max. It's a new movie. It's a pretty biting satire of big tech. I would recommend people
Mm,
watch that one too.
Okay, we'll check that out.
what's
All
it
right, without
called? Wait,
Mountainhead. It's a play on
Mountain Head.
it's a play on Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead.
Oh, I see.
oh good, make fun of that as much as you can.
Yes, 100%.
All right,
Um,
without further ado, we played Sorry We're Closed. Pete, what's Sorry We're Closed?
What is Sorry We're Closed? Sorry We're Closed is, I guess, the closest would be survival horror, although that
Mhm.
might be sort of misstating things slightly. But you play as Michelle, who gets hijacked into a world of angels and demons and needs to fight for survival and escape. Close enough?
Yeah, she's a clerk at a normal convenience store, and then one day when she goes to bed, a sleep paralysis demon comes to her while she's sleeping and gives her a curse, a terrible curse that gives her a third eye that lets her see the supernatural, and thrusts her into a quest to cure this curse before it turns her into a horrible monster.
Yep.
And she is cursed by a character known only as the Duchess,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
they are a demon that with the third eye you get there's two versions of the Duchess. One that's very scary, and the other one is maybe a little sultry. Who's to say?
More than a little.
Yeah. So this game, I would say, what would you say the aesthetic is? PS1 era?
Yes. I would describe it as, Silent Hill, like Resident Evil. It's basically a jumble of all of those, a little bit of Persona also. And I would describe the actual aesthetics of the game to be like, I was going to call it Rusty Meat. Does, does that sound accurate to you?
I think so. Gino, you know what it reminded me of? And Em, if you remember the answer to this, more power to you. You
Okay.
picked a PS1, I think it was a PS1 game for us to play, where the main character was just way too thick. It was super caked up, and it reminded me of that. And I can't remember what the game's called.
I picked it or Gino picked it.
I think Gino picked it.
Vagrant Story.
Vagrant Story. Thank you. That's what it
What?
reminded me of.
That almost won Game of the Year that one time. That one.
No, all this story.
Oh no. Well,
No,
Vagrant
Vagrant
Story was
Story
bad.
also.
Yeah,
Vagrant Story
Vagrant
wasn't going to
Story-
win, but M got very mad about it and then inflicted
Yes.
torture on us for an entire year because of it. But
Yes.
yes, I believe
Yeah.
Vagrant Story, Ashley, is caked up. That is true.
So thick.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the
Um,
screenshots right now.
This game very much looks like a Silent Hill or something. It very much looks like a PlayStation 1 game. It has some mechanics that are definitely Silent Hill or Resident Evil adjacent. You're running around space, like you spend some amount of time in town talking to people. Then you go to a dungeon where you encounter supernatural beings. And then using your third eye, there's a bit of an interesting mechanic because it's got the stand in place and shoot. It actually cuts to first person when you pull your gun out or your axe if you're using the melee weapon of the game. And there's kind of two ways you can shoot enemies. M, what are the two different modes? There's the third eye and the no third eye. What's the difference?
Okay, so if you are not using your third eye, then you just do like health damage to the enemy. A little number pops up. If you are using your third eye, you are able to target hearts that appear on the enemy. And when you hit a heart, maybe another heart pops up, and you kind of do a chain combo looking thing. And at the end of it, you will like knock the enemy down if it's one that can get back up, or you just kill it outright if it's like one of the smaller ones. And this also charges your heartbreaker meter, which is a big gun that you can pull out and blast boss hearts. And that permanently destroys even the enemies that get back up. Right?
And yeah, the Heartbreaker insta kills things that can get back up, and then the regular shooting it just does less damage. But
Yes.
if you don't have if you have the third eye open, you can only hurt weak points. It's the only way to
Yes.
damage things at all. So shooting anywhere else does no damage at all,
You
which is
also
interesting.
you get a minor stun effect with
Hmm.
certain enemies when you open third eye too. It gives you a little bit more time to aim at the weak points.
Yes, yeah, that
Mhm.
100% helps. So I would say that the game itself, like wandering through, using the third eye for combat purposes, it also helps you solve puzzles. The third eye will let you see different environments. You're always in one environment that, I mean, for the most part, the dungeons look kind of Silent Hilly, you know, industrial, gross.
Very much.
And then when you open your third eye, sometimes they will show you kind of like what a location looked like, I guess, before it fell into disrepair. That's how I would describe it. But
Yeah.
the game, I think, implies that there's like a demon world, a heavenly world, and the regular world all overlapped on each other.
Mhm.
So your third eye is letting you see a different plane of existence
Yeah.
on top of your own, right?
Yeah, I don't recall
Yes.
anything though that gets nicer when your third eye's open. Like there's no like angelic visages where like everything's suddenly gorgeous all of a sudden.
Mm. Yeah, it seems like you are in the bad version of whatever world this is, and then when you turn your third eye on, it usually gets better. Although I guess that's not always true.
Yeah, it doesn't get like nice. It just gets like normal. Where
Yeah,
normal
like
is like our base reality.
yeah. Because when you're in like the hotel level, that gets much worse when you turn your third eye on. So it's showing you the truth of things, perhaps, uh, which depends on where you are.
Mhm. This is also a very sort of like Constantine, the Keanu
Mm.
Reeves version, coded
Mhm.
cosmology, where like even the angels are crummy. Like nobody here is like that good of a person, or I guess I should say good of a celestial being, really.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's sort of like out to get theirs or like scheming or, weirdly rules based in a way that's very off putting. Like nobody's a good time, really.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely got that like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or uh, cosmology. Like everyone's kind of crappy. Their
Mhm.
demons are running around. They interact with angels. Everyone's pretty matter of fact about it too. I would say. They're just
Mhm.
coexisting with people most of the time until you pop the third eye out. You wouldn't even know that some of the characters you've been interacting with are demons or
Mhm.
angels.
No.
Um, and they're all kind of horrifying in their own way too. I would say, like the angels are monstrous, so are the demons.
Yeah.
All of them
It's like
are kind of off-putting.
biblically, like the angels are horrific. Like
Yeah.
if you like look in the actual Bible, they have like 1,000 eyes, or they're like giant floating rings of eyes. Like they're not a good time, like originally.
Yeah, and this
I
game
wanna.
definitely stays to that.
Mhm. Um. I want to ask, was there any characters that you were surprised to find out were demons or angels?
I'll go backwards. There
Okay.
was one I was surprised to find out was a human we interacted with,
Oh, okay.
and that is whoever does the saving. I forget the character's
Yes.
actual human name, but they're always silent in human form, which makes sense because they talk to you in two-headed, you know, finger-eyed, long-tongued demon form. And I forget the
Hmm.
Lucy,
character's name. Lucy, thank you.
Lucy. Yes. Yeah, that was gonna be mine. Um, there's also uh, Clarissa, I believe her name is,
hmm
who works at the bar. She turns out to be an angel who has like a skull head with a butterfly over her face.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty gnarly. Um, I was surprised to find out that Daryl was not any sort of demon or anything because he
Yeah,
yeah,
he's just a
sucks.
really annoying dude.
Daryl and Oakley.
Hmm.
Daryl is
Yeah,
like the right hand of the Duchess, and he sucks. It is
yeah.
like a street hoodlum who's in way over his head, and then Oakley is Daryl's boyfriend.
I'll
Hmm.
I
say this
just
about
felt like, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I'll say this about Daryl too. I don't malign anybody who wants to get any tattoos they want. Daryl's tattoos are terrible, and he also doesn't strike me as a lower back tattoo sort of person. Just doesn't fit his vibe, which is
Does
terrible.
he? Wait, does he have a lower back tattoo? I didn't
He
see that
does.
one.
He
I,
does.
what is it?
It looks like some like dumb tribal design.
Oh, I see. I saw the one on his shoulder that's like flames, but I didn't look that closely because whenever he was on the screen, I was like, ugh, what does this guy want?
Freaking Daryl.
I feel like the lower back tattoo is to let you know that he is both unserious and also a bad dude.
Mm.
Like he's in way over his head. And what? How do you communicate that this person's kind of an asshole and also an idiot? Lower back tattoo that's kind of tribal.
With
Mm.
giant flames across one pack. It all
Yep,
checks out.
Mhm.
100%. Instantly clocked. Um,
I
like
see.
if this was a Japanese game, he would have the Bancho Pompadour haircut.
Yep,
Oh yeah,
100%.
that is absolutely his vibe. He's also walking around with his shirt off. I don't know if we mentioned that.
We didn't.
Um, he is like a big muscly guy, and people describe him as looking like a banana because he has like he's
Bleach
like
blonde
the
hair
hair.
and yellow
Yeah.
pants.
Yep. And he sucks. And he's turning people into meat. Spoilers.
Yeah,
Man,
we'll get to that.
how did he get the position as the Duchess's right hand? Like, what did they see in Daryl that they were like,
Uh,
we need to get
an,
Daryl involved in this?
an idiot who can do what is
Fair.
A desperate idiot who seems easy to manipulate.
Yeah,
I think
that
that'd be
seems
my
to be it.
guess.
Mhm.
Who's down with doing crimes
With turning
because
people into meat.
yeah,
Mhm.
he's got a crush on his boyfriend and would really like his boyfriend to say yes to being together forever, despite Daryl completely not earning that affection.
Nope.
Hmm,
But Oakley likes messy guys, I guess.
I
It's kind of
guess.
the takeaway. Um, but yeah, like the gameplay is pretty interesting. Like you're going through these dungeons. There's 4 dungeons in the game, I'd say. This game's very efficient. Like, it gets you into dungeons quick. The dungeons themselves aren't that long, and then gets you out. Um,
It's also very willing to throw side quests to you. And then if you're just like, nah, I don't think so. Game doesn't care. Okay, keep moving.
yeah, like there's an economy in this game where you can find artifacts and then sell them to a goat demon thing
Tad.
for
Dad.
yowzas,
Yep.
which is their currency, which I very much enjoyed. Um, and
I
then
have a,
that lets you buy upgrades.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
Did you find all of the things that you can find?
So I definitely didn't find all of the foods. Like you have
Okay.
chances to find things and feed them to somebody in a bathroom
Mhm.
stall. I didn't do all of those. I found a bunch of artifacts. I don't know how many there are, so can't say
Yeah.
for that.
Because I was in like the last dungeon of the game, and then I got the achievement that said you found half of the artifact. I
Mm.
was like, where are where are they? I don't know how that's possible, but okay. Um, so I was like, did I miss half of them somehow? Are there 50 I don't know. I probably found like 10. So are there 20 artifacts throughout the game? Where where are they hiding?
So
I
I think some
didn't
of
look
them
very
might.
hard.
Maybe there's some in breakables, and I just didn't
Mm,
notice. Also, you're in the first person. Like it's a fixed camera angle game.
yeah.
There are some times where you have to go into first person to see the space. Because when you're in first person, you can look all around. But if you're walking around without going into first person mode, you only see from these fixed camera angles. So it's possible that there are some breakable wall, like planks or stuff, that are off camera to a side, right? That you wouldn't necessarily explore without going into first person mode. Like maybe they're doing some perspective tricks. They definitely did that for like level progression moments at times, and I was not like constantly exploring in first person to double check. That would be my guess. Is like there's actually some hidden rooms and stuff that if you don't go into first person, you wouldn't notice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, I didn't even hit 10, so can't help
Mm,
you there.
I got
yep.
over halfway, but not. I didn't get all of them. I did get all of the foods for the Hungry Ghost, and I also got all of the ingredients that you can give to the chef in the hotel.
I think the
Did
chef is funny.
Chef
Uh
is fun.
Did you like
Chef
Chef Armando?
Chef Armando, yeah. He's like a pterodactyl looking thing. And he calls you lamb chop. Pork, or is it lamb chop or pork chop? It's a
One of the
chop
chops.
of some sort. Um,
Did
yeah.
did y'all take the mummified cat?
Yep.
I
Uh,
was like, this is a trap.
see,
I'm not touching this cat.
I took it and then I knew that that was because they asked for like, I want something cold and I want something
Dry.
uh
Dry as a bone.
dry. The thing, yeah, I was like, this cat, I hope is not the dry thing, but I'm gonna take it. But then at that point, I was like all the way down the dungeon. I was like, I gotta walk all the way back up the thing to hand it off. And then I was like, hold on, I can't even go back because I've locked a gate behind me. So I
You can.
cannot return it.
You
Yeah.
can. You need to beat a boss, and then it unlocks the gate.
Oh,
There's a mini boss
well,
in that level. That's how you do it.
Oh,
You double
oh
back. It
shit.
is that cat. That cat is
It
the
is
dry
that
thing.
cat.
And then when you give it to him, if you give that ghost all 3, gives you a 101 Yowza bonus.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
so many Yowzas.
That is a lot of Yowzas.
Yeah.
Why are they called Yowzas?
It's cool.
Do we?
It's because the
It's
record shop owner
yeah,
keeps saying Yowza.
Marty. Yeah, Marty says Yowza, and then he was like talking to that demon who was like trading stuff with him, and so he inspired their like culture basically. Thought it was funny.
It's very funny. If Marty, so like the characters in this game, uh, there's Marty, who's the record. Is he the owner of the record store? Or he just works at the record store.
I just
I
assumed
think
he
he
owned it.
owns it. Yeah.
He's way into demonology,
Mhm.
but he's also a dumbass. So he's like, once you get the third eye, you realize that almost everyone you've interacted with in this town is a demon or an angel, and Marty's surrounded by them at all times and does not clock it,
Mhm.
which is very funny. I also like that almost all of the people in his record store are demons, like
Oh
nine times
yeah,
out of 10.
they are
Um,
demons, and also some of them are in love with him.
mhm.
is is that singer a demon? I know they show
No,
up in
No.
Demon World later in the game, but they're human, right?
he's just
Yeah.
a human singer.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there's Lucy, there's the dancer at the club, there's Daryl, the owner of the club, who sucks. Oakley, his boyfriend, who owns a local diner. There's a lady who makes is it Violet who makes baked
Yeah.
goods.
Yep.
Then she suddenly goes missing.
Where does she end up?
She ends up in a demon kitchen cooking
She
because
she
Is she
ends
with
up
Chef Armando?
hacking up bodies for Chef Armando. Yeah.
Nice.
she made really good. It's that chocolate. What's that French chocolate
Pan au
bread?
chocolat.
Yeah.
Yeah, she makes pain au chocolat, so she gets enslaved to
Mhm.
make that forever. There's Robin, who's your friend, who turns out to be a demon,
Yep.
and then there's Robin's boyfriend Benedict, who's an angel, and that's like most of them. There's
Yeah.
oh
It's like
right,
a
there's
manager. There's the guy you work for. He
Sh-
only shows up twice.
Cheryl. What's the who's the centaur looking angel?
the wing
Sherelle.
arms.
That's how I said it. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
How'd you pronounce
And
it,
There's
Pete?
Dream Eater, if we're just listing demons too.
yeah.
There's Dream Eater, and then there's and it oh Beloved, which is another angel
Mm.
that is like, hey, there's this angel I know who's in love with a demon, and you need to stop him from being in love with this demon because it's gonna ruin their lives.
Yeah. The centaur guy is Chamuel. Like
Shemuel.
Samuel, but with a CH.
Okay.
Um yeah. And he is in love with the Dream Eater, and
Spoilers.
that goes bad.
As you would expect
Yeah,
from somebody dating an organism named the Dream Eater. Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Samuel is actually the name of a real archangel.
oh,
Ah.
Did not know that.
Hmm.
wow, or you know. Um, so before we go into full spoilers, Storytown, even more than we have, Em, what did you think of the basic gameplay, like cutting to first person to shoot, using the third eye to expose weaknesses?
Yeah.
Like as a survival horror game, how did you think it played?
So as far as when I was
Young boy.
using the third eye in order to what?
I was just singing Black Parade. Keep going.
Well, now you've distracted me.
Sorry. Sorry.
When I use the third eye to open up the because I was basically always using it to target the weak points. Um, and because of how fast the enemies are, sometimes I would be running away from them. And so very often I would end up popping my third eye, which stuns the enemies for a little bit. And then by the time I get into first person and I have to spin around in order to face the enemy that I'm trying to shoot, sometimes they would like just be not stunned anymore. So it was a little clunky in that regard. Um, I was playing on controller. I don't know how this would play on keyboard, but I can't imagine it would be much better with actually targeting. I think I had like a pretty good hit rate on targets, but I couldn't tell you like uh, strategies to get good at that. It's just uh, a lot
Aim
of
and
very
shoot.
fast, yeah, very fast aiming is what's gonna like be the test by the end of the game. Especially when you get to some of the like late bosses. Um, like they have like hands or tendrils or things that pop out that you then need to try and target pretty precisely. So it can get a little tough. Like some of the later bosses, like there will be a thing hovering in front of you that you have to hit, and then if you don't hit it, you're gonna get smacked. So it's it's a little tricky, but I don't think it was terrible. It's just there's some weirdness to it that you got to get used to.
Yeah, I would say like the aiming and the shooting on PC was very straightforward. Like if
Hmm.
you're pointing and clicking, I found it was pretty darn fast. You know,
Yeah.
aiming and hitting things in the right locations was not generally that much of a problem, especially if you were close to an enemy, because the closer you are, the bigger their weak point will be.
Right.
Uh, so it's harder to miss. It is a little finicky in spots where like maybe an arm will be in front of the weak point and the enemy's otherwise translucent. So sometimes you'd shoot the arm when you were really aiming for the weak point, just because of how that mechanic works.
Mm.
But it didn't end up killing me that many times. I think I died 15 times in the whole game, which wasn't too bad. And
I
that was
bet
mostly
more
because I
than
was
that.
hoarding. I was hoarding, killing items.
Ah, yes. Uh, yeah. I like had a few instances where I was like, I did a run really bad, like through a certain part of it. Particularly, there's a section in the aquarium, uh, and it was like a pretty uh densely populated with enemies hallway, and I was just shooting too wildly or something, and something would get me, like one of those pterodactyl things, and I would reload. So I don't know if those count towards my end result, uh, but I had probably like 20 something deaths just overall,
Yeah, and that 15
which
includes like instant deaths where
yeah.
you just don't
Oh,
know. Sometimes, like I oops ran into fire in
yeah.
a section and thought I'd take damage, instead I just died, or something
Yes.
like that.
I also had a lot of those, so I'm going to actually increase my total because I forgot that there were a bunch of like I don't know what to even call these. You know those mirror puzzles where you are moving
Yeah.
and something else is moving? Um I died so many times in several of those. And I was just like, this is the end of the game. I don't want to like worry about going back. And also we have to record pretty soon and I can't stop. I have to just keep going. Um and so I just was like eating those basically. And those are tough. Those like I had to leave some stuff behind because I was just like, I'm not gonna open this up and then you're gonna blow up the mirror version of me and it's gonna like end the whole thing. I was just like, I gotta go. I'm out of here. Maybe I'll get
Pretty
it
fair.
in New Game Plus. Um, but
Did you
yeah.
have any trouble with dying?
I mean, I wouldn't say I had trouble with it. I accepted it with equanimity every time it happened. But I didn't check the exact numbers. I'm willing to bet mine was higher than both of y'all's, as it tends to be.
I appreciated that they were pretty generous with autosave. Like
Sure.
whenever they threw an instant death situation at you, they autosaved at the beginning of the room. It was very nice. Um, I don't know if we mentioned, but some enemies will have one weak point. Sometimes they will have multiple. So you shoot the first weak point, it exposes a second one, and then a third one, and then et cetera, et cetera. And if you kill the enemy by chaining all those weak points together without missing, you get a combo bonus that will fill up your Heartbreaker, which is an instant kill shot, significantly more than if you just took the enemy out regularly. So this game really incentivizes you to play skillfully, which I thought was smart design. And the Heartbreaker is necessary to kill some enemies that revive themselves. So you had multiple reasons to be doing that. And then that's the only way to beat bosses, too, is with the Heartbreaker, which was a very cool touch, I thought. Other than just like the basic horror, I also found like this is a pretty unique survival horror game, like actually going into first person in a game like this, I think really appreciated the few first person moments that existed in, oh dang it, what was the name? It was our game of the year a couple years ago. Lesbian Androids.
Oh, the horror one, right?
Horror one.
Oh, Signalis.
Yeah, Signalis. Like the few times Signalis went first person, we really appreciated it. And I liked that this game also explored that space of first person, but like PS1 style gameplay and aesthetic. It definitely just like being able to pull into this world and how it's set up. I liked seeing it from a first person perspective, like breaking pieces of wood or breaking jars and seeing some of the items and enemies up close. I liked that for horror purposes, you could see enemies up close and personal when you were getting attacked by them. And it kind of, I think, added a little bit of a sense of horror to situations that otherwise were not that scary.
Yeah, I will say too, like while we're on the subject of the horror, this isn't really like gameplay related. I appreciated sort of like Beetlejuicean attitude it took towards horror. Like, yeah, this stuff is like sort of spooky and macabre, but like it's very funny in its way. And then it took sort of like an abrupt turn into like Pinhead territory with one character in one particular dungeon. And like ordinarily that sort of like dissonance might bother me. I don't know, for whatever reason, I really sort of liked it in this one too.
Wait, only once it turned to Pinhead?
No, I mean it did in another, but there was one part where like somebody was like almost literally a Xenobite, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
okay, game, I see what you're doing
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
For
The
sure.
designs for like the creatures and everything, some of them are like, this is the spooky guy that you remember from like Silent Hill 2. You know, that one guy? Sometimes it's just that. And then sometimes there are characters that are like really weird. Like that one in particular, I was like, "Ugh, I don't want to look at that."
Oh,
Yeah,
Um,
especially the bosses.
yeah.
And speaking of the bosses, I really enjoyed that the boss music for every boss was
Oh
or
yeah.
almost every boss was voiced rap, basically,
yeah, good
with
jams.
a sick beat.
And sometimes it's talking to the main character, like by name. Like, uh, I thought it was neat.
It's just such a tonal shift. Like most of the rest of the game just has ambient, spooky sounds for the
Yeah.
most part, and then you get these voiced boss fights with music that is very out of place. Like I think in place for this game's supposed to be set in London. I feel
Yes.
like it's in place for an inner city sort of setting, which is most of the places you go, but very out of place for this genre, right?
Right.
Like Silent Hill will do some kind of off-kilter rock sometimes, that's a little off-putting. But I don't think I've ever played a survival horror game that decides to go this direction for its music, and I
Yeah,
appreciate it a lot.
I don't think I've ever played one with a lot of hip hop in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
would you
can't think of any.
consider Mark Echo's Getting Up as a survival horror game?
Oh, of course, the horror of capitalism.
Yeah, sure. The
Aren't
scariest
all
thing there is.
games shooting up? I don't even know this.
Check
Oh,
out Getting
I
Up.
haven't played this.
Contents
It's
under
like a
pressure.
graffiti game from way back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I really liked, especially because the enemies that you're dealing with are generally they're overcome by vices. Let's say they
Yeah.
have warped perceptions of love, and one
Mhm.
of them where you're fighting an enemy who's too into money, let's say, and then the rap music kicks in. It's like, gotta get that money.
Yeah.
It's great.
The soundtrack for this game, I wonder if it's on Spotify. Hold on, let's see. Sorry, we're
It's
closed.
on Spotify. Yep.
Oh
This
yeah.
I
this game
liked
too
some of the
really
songs.
is like a pastiche of like references from like there's obviously Silent Hill, there's like some Persona stuff going on.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's like a bunch of others that I'm forgetting too, but it really does feel like in terms of originality, it's more than the sum of its parts. Like it puts them together in a cool and interesting way, so you're not just like, oh, this is just a Silent Hill ripoff or something.
Hmm.
100%. Like it's got the Resident Evil camera angles. It's got the Silent Hill two worlds layered on top of each other. It looks like those games. Um, but the first person elements of the shooting are different. Though I mean, it's not the first game to do first person shooting or anything like that. But how they've combined it with a genre that generally doesn't. And I also like that you can't move when you're in first person. You can only look around and shoot. So there's no strafing. You basically have
Yeah.
to post up in a spot and wait for the enemies to come at you. You can either be running or attacking. You can't do both, which I
That
think was
really
very
messed
clever.
me up. That messed me up a lot. Because sometimes enemies, particularly they're like these cockroach looking things, they will like crawl up to you. And sometimes I was in a position where they're like too close for me to actually hit the target. And so I couldn't like strafe. I had to like back out of the first person and then move like much further away and
Hmm.
then wait for them to crawl up to me again. Uh, and that was like one of those things that I was like, I wish I just had like some wiggle room there, but
Yeah,
I see why they did it.
I think that it added tension that otherwise wouldn't be there. Because if you could strafe,
Yeah.
the enemies are designed in such a way that they are not fast. They are very avoidable. If you do not want to run into them, their attacks are slow to wind up. They move pretty slowly to begin with. If you were any more mobile, this game would be trivial. So I feel
Hmm.
like they made a very intentional choice to give you a lot of mobility, and then when you commit to attacking, you are locked to the ground. Um,
Yep.
and the reload too for some of the weapons is pretty slow,
I will
or the
say though,
recoil on the axe,
correct me
very
if I'm
slow.
wrong, it felt more generous with ammunition than like some other survival horror games we've played, and
Hundred
maybe that's
Oh
percent.
yeah.
because yeah, because the enemies have like 4 or 5 weak points later on that you have to hit in
Hmm.
succession.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. They're very generous with ammo. They're very generous with HP drops too. Also, the first two dungeons in the game have healing points that you can just go back to and get full heals whenever you want. If you go to the bathroom and then use your third eye to make the sinks not gross, you can drink the water for full heals.
Hmm. Yep.
So they definitely tutorialize you a little bit. Like they give you a lot of wiggle room early on, which I appreciated. And yeah, the boss battles, I mean, they're pattern recognition. They're nothing too wild from that perspective, but the music, I think, elevates them a lot.
Hmm.
So story wise, we've said Michelle gets cursed. The Duchess curses her. She also has an ex girlfriend who's now an actress who is on like a soap opera, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Um, And so Michelle is heartbroken, and the Duchess is a demon that wants love. And doesn't just want love, they want love that leaves them a demon. Because in this world, if angels or demons fall in love with each other or with humans, they lose their divinity. They become humans. So the Duchess wants to have love, yet not give up their power as a demon, which causes problems because uh, anyone who they would actually fall for would cause them to lose their divinity, and anyone who they believe isn't sufficiently loyal or loving, they just kill, which is just this cycle of unending torment that seems to have played out until Michelle, the Chosen One, comes along. Um, which kind of kickstarts the narrative here. What did y'all think of kind of how the story pops off, like when you start going into the underground subway station?
When it starts to get like the real Silent Hill aspects, and
Yeah,
you're
and when
like,
we get the first cutscenes, so
yeah,
like when you first
uh,
go into that uh, first it's real Silent Hilly going into
mhm,
an underground subway station.
yep,
But as soon as you enter, one, you see that Robin, your friend, has been a demon all along, which is cool.
yes,
They jump back and forth between demon character model and human character model, depending on whether your third eye is open or not. Um,
mhm,
and then you see like this echo kind of in the subway platform. And when you open your third eye, you can see a cutscene of another person who was cursed before you, and what they did to try and avoid the curse. And what did you think of how they did cutscenes, how they handled them?
I thought it was neat. You see this like it's kind of like pixels that are just like sort of in a humanoid shape. Then when you open your third eye, it reveals the person that's there. And then the actual cutscene that you watch, it's kind of like static, flipping between like uh, kind of like a PowerPoint or something. Um, so it's not like moving, kind of like just snapshots from what was happening. Um, and so it kind of gives it like more of a uh, seems like a imperfect memory. Only the most striking aspects are remembered in that moment. It's kind of got a lot of th- a lot of games kind of do this. I'm trying to think of where we might have seen something like this last. Uh, does any pop out to you?
With the stop motion sort of
Well,
cutscene?
that and the like go to a spot and then you see like this like echo of something that happened in like moments before.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's been a while since we played BioShock, but BioShock does that stuff all
oh
over the
yeah,
place.
Yeah.
maybe that's what I'm
Um,
thinking of.
Trying to
Yeah,
think what I Soma did this.
that was the recent one. Yeah,
That's more recent. A lot of horror games do this sort of stuff.
yeah. It's kind of a step up from the audio log, like making it diegetic. Like oh, I've noticed a monster is walking around. I hope it doesn't get me. That sort of like portraying it in that weird way kind of doesn't work for this one. So they kind of have this like view the past mode, which makes sense with your third eye thing because that's like something that third eyes can
Ostensibly do.
do. Yeah.
I really loved that just from a game design development perspective, in a game that is kind of intentionally aping PlayStation 1, N64 era consoles, having this almost stop motion cutscene style where it's still images, right? It's jumping from still image to still image with text playing over the top. No voiceover. There's no voice acting in this game. Um, it saves a bunch of development resources that would have gone into animation, right? Like you could have had these cutscenes where you saw the transition from scene by making it just purely positioning the character models in creepy ways. You just get the keyframes, right? Like it's jumping from keyframe to keyframe to keyframe, which for a small development team, I think they kept maximum impact while not wasting their time on just scripting out these pretty elaborate sequences in some cases, right? Um, so I just think it's really smart use of resources and time. They made sure that the animations for the enemies were upsetting. They made sure the animations for the characters that you talk to when you talk to them are evocative, but they didn't spend a bunch of time coding one-off cutscenes. They coded it, but they didn't code it with like 1,000 frames of animation or something. They coded it with 4, 5, 6 keyframes, and that's it. With good pacing and timing.
Extremely efficient. Yes.
100%. Yes. Like I can't commend it enough. Like this is the sort of thing that I don't know that people who play games who don't know production would realize the amount of effort that would have gone into making those scenes fully animated and the just lack of return, I feel like. I think they got 90% of what they would have gotten if they had hand animated this stuff. And probably cut their production time significantly shorter by doing it this way. So
Yeah, I didn't
kudos.
think about it at all. So probably right, Gino.
Yeah, like it just you have to have like more animators to do that. Like the amount of extra effort that would have gone into it, just not worth it. I don't think. Since it was super scary, like some of these sequences were very scary just with the keyframes. Like seeing the second boss, how that happens.
Oh yeah, that's the one that I had to watch that 3 or 4 times because that was the hallway after that I was like trying to keep redoing. And it's like I should just save after I see this cutscene. Then I kept forgetting to do it, and that cutscene is brutal. That's like
Yeah.
the most graphic cutscene in the game.
Yeah, you get there's a pop star who is cursed, and she's trying to find people to love her, and the first person who's cursed loves money, and that's how they try to escape the Duchess is by giving the Duchess money. The second person tries to find someone else to love them instead of the Duchess because this pop star thinks that she's too good for the Duchess. So the Duchess cuts all of her limbs off except one arm, and that's a brutal scene. And then you see this pop star slowly transform into a lamprey, basically. And then the third character loves legacy, I guess is how you just say it.
Yeah, like treasure or something. I'm not sure exactly what her deal was.
She's wealthy and she's trying to one up her
Yeah.
parents, who
Yeah, she's trying to
material
get
goods.
love from her like family, but her family is dead. So she's like taking or giving the items that they cherished more than they liked her back to them in their tombs, basically.
Yeah.
And she basically flays herself, more or less.
Yeah. Yep.
She gets the third eye on purpose because having a third eye is more valuable than the material goods that her parents hoarded.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the logic was on that one, but it's creepy and gross. So it
Yeah,
works.
she killed both of her parents and then locked herself at the bottom of a tomb with immortality because she's a demon. So I don't think her plan's great. I'm going to be honest.
there are some holes, if we're being perfectly frank.
Yeah, kudos to a la mode games for like setting up this very off-putting, very evocative. Like also the art in this game is sick. I don't think we've said that. Like there's the PS1 style graphics for most of the character models, but also there's these really good character portraits that are used for most of the characters, most of the main characters, and I think they're all great. I don't know about you, Pete.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sure. The character models, yeah. I mean, there are multiple characters that are. I mean, sultry was the word Gino used at the very beginning. I mean, I think sultry is accurate. And I'd say the two that are the most sultry are the Duchess and Robin, are two demon overlords, if you ask me.
I mean the Duchess with the O face.
Yeah. That's the one I was gonna say.
Yeah, you're right on that.
That is definitely Robin going from a very tomboy. I mean, I don't even know if it's tomboy. It's just very punk, I guess, like a nose ring and what is that kind of hat? That like Russian hat?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know what it's called, but
I
I
was
know
too
what you mean.
focused on the demon leather gear they were wearing
yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
And then
Like
when
black straps, yeah.
yeah,
No.
then when you open your third eye, you realize that Robin has a tail and lots of leather. all under there. I mean, how many other characters just are real horny? I mean, Lucy is pretty horny.
I mean, I learned a lot about my preferred style of lingerie from playing this game. I was not expecting that going in.
Oh,
Wow.
you learned something about yourself. Now you have to deal with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of new knowledge I have all of a sudden that I'm going to have to internalize over the next few days.
But yeah, like Lucy with the
I didn't
two
learn anything about
torsos.
I went in knowing exactly what I was going to find,
Just
and I was not surprised.
Reaffirmed the expected.
Yes. Mhm.
Ugh. Yeah. I mean, Lucy with the two torsos coming out of one set of legs, and
Yeah,
then
wild.
You don't
close
find
up
that
with
too
like
often, That's tough to find.
yeah the tongue and the horns, and then the other side, which is horns coming out of the eye socket. Like it's evocative, I would say. Almost this entire game has some of the more creative art that I've seen in a while. So way to go. Sorry, we're closed there. So endings. You eventually like this game has choices to make. You can make decisions on whether to help Errol and his boyfriend get back together or break them up. You can decide whether to help Robin and their boyfriend Benedict get together because Benedict is basically guarding a door to hell, and he has to stay there because he's an angel. So you need to find some items. You can find some items to help free him from his eternal service. You also get to decide whether Chamuel and his demon boyfriend become humans or not. And then you can decide whether you want to help Lucy, who is the operator who saves the game for you, and has two torsos, and that's kind of messed up. Those I think are kind of the four main paths. There's help Lucy, there's break up Daryl and Oakley, there's help Robin, and then the last option is help Chamuel or not.
You also have your core mission of getting out of the Duchess's clutches one way or another.
Right.
Yes, and that you will basically, depending on what options you take throughout the game, will get you more endings. If you go down the Robin path, and even if you don't help Robin, you always have Robin as an option because Robin's a good friend. Which is just what ending did y'all go with first off?
I think I'll start because I think I did the simplest one. I mean, I don't think I helped anybody. No, I shouldn't say that. I did help Robin, and then I fought the Duchess.
Okay, so you got the Robin ending.
Yeah. I got the Clarissa ending because I
no.
messed up my game terribly. And I can explain that. Gino, which one did you do before I get into what I did wrong?
I had access to the Chamuel and the Robin endings, and I chose the Robin ending.
Okay. Well, before I get into my weirdness, what happens over the course of your game?
So over the course of my game, I decided to help Daryl and Oakley stay together, which let me say, when you get into the end game, if you help them stay together, the angel who wants you to break them up is like, hey, you thought you did the right thing by helping Daryl unwittingly make his boyfriend into a cannibal? Because all of the humans that die trying to please the Duchess get turned into meat that Daryl then sells. And Oakley's been serving it at his diner for unknown amounts of time. So
Daryl's the worst.
would you say, first open question, did I do the right thing there? Like, would Oakley want to know?
Yeah. I would.
I'd want to stop put to it. I don't know if I'd want to know I'd been eating people that whole time. You can't
That's the
uneat
thing.
people. Like, once you eat them, they're eaten.
That's the thing. Like, if you keep them together, Daryl stops getting the people meat. And so Oakley will never eat people again if you keep them together. If you break them up, though, he's not going to eat people either, but then their relationship falls apart. I think I was in the wrong. I think I probably should have broken them up in retrospect. But to be fair, I started on the path of keeping them together before I realized that cannibalism was involved. So I didn't know that was happening. Um, but if you do the Robin ending, Robin basically helps you defeat the Duchess, and then the Duchess removes your curse, and then you get to go about your life as normal as it can be. Like that everyone still was an angel or a demon, but that's all that happens is you're not cursed anymore.
Wow, cool. What happens to Chamuel if you do your ending?
So Chamuel, if you help Chamuel get together with Dream Eater, Chamuel will become a person, and so will Dream Eater. Both of them will become people. If you
Yeah.
don't get them together, then they'll, I guess, still be angels and demons. But there's
I can
no.
tell you what happens there.
Oh, what happens?
So I'm gonna have to go through my whole thing from the beginning, but I can tell you, stay tuned for what that's gonna be.
Okay, because I did
Um,
get them together, and they were both people.
okay. So Pete, you did the same thing, right?
I did the Robin ending. Yeah, I did not get Chamuel and
Uh,
Meter together.
did you break them up?
I don't think I did anything to them. I think I just ignored the side quest. So
Wow.
whatever they were going to do. Actually, you know what? No, they asked what they should do, and I think I said stay together, but I didn't talk to them or anything at the end. Maybe I just forgot. Maybe I didn't like them.
Okay, because hold on, my mouth is full. Someone say something.
Okay, so
Keep talking.
uh, I will say if you do the Chamuel ending, so Chamuel actually gives you an access to an ending. I didn't pick it, but if you go down that ending, uh, Michelle basically expresses love for the Duchess, and if you do
Oh,
that, the Duchess stops being a demon and becomes a human.
oh,
You change the Duchess with your love.
I see.
Still, pretty sultry as a human too. I will say.
Yes, which it's kind of interesting because I guess that's probably the best ending, right? Because the Duchess
Yeah.
now is no longer a demon cursing your town. Uh, and it seems like the Duchess, as a person, is not necessarily the worst without the demonic power.
Oh, they
It
seem
doesn't seem
fine.
like they're evil.
I did expect the initial breakup to pay off more. Like the game opens with Michelle watching her ex girlfriend's soap opera. And I guess like the
Yes.
whole game is sort of a meditation on, love, desire, and heartbreak and whatnot. But like it's not like the ex girlfriend ever shows up or that really like pays off much.
So if you, I'm. This is a question. I'm not saying I know. Uh, Lucy promises that if you do the thing that disempowers the Duchess, Lucy will then get you back together with your ex somehow. But it seems like Lucy has their own agenda, and I was like, I don't know if that's true. I don't think you're telling me everything, so I have no idea
So
if that is
Lucy's
the
Lucy's not to
actual.
be trusted. Let's
Oh
say.
yeah, yep,
If you do Lucy's path, do you want to know what happens if you do the
Which
Lucy
one's
path?
Lucy?
sure.
Is Lucy the one
Lucy
that
The
gives
is
you the dress?
operator.
the
The operator,
operator.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you do Lucy's path, you have to break up Daryl and Oakley. You have to break up Chamuel and Dream Eater, and you have to help Robin save Benedict. If you do those three things, you can take Lucy's deal, which helps you defeat the Duchess. You basically give Lucy the Duchess's true name, which as a demon gives you complete control over them. So the Duchess gets defeated by Lucy. Then Lucy seizes your body as her own.
Sure.
And instead of piloting around the body she has when she's a human, she pilots you around. And
Damn.
Michelle is mute for the rest of the game. And she
Sucks.
sees her ex girlfriend again, but cannot speak because
Uh,
Lucy's piloting her around.
I see. Okay. So yeah, that's certainly something.
That's the worst ending.
Um, I don't know. My ending was pretty bad. Um, so let me tell you about the Clarissa ending. because that's the one I got. And if I had more time, I would have gone back and done a different one. But I had completely botched the playthrough. Um, I'll just scroll down my achievements here. So at one point, you get the option to tell Daryl to either give Oakley a present, which is a rat in a hat.
Yeah, he thinks it's a
Or,
hamster because he
yeah,
sucks.
he thinks it's a hamster because he's an idiot. While the health inspector is looking at Oakley's restaurant, and I was like, "You should give Oakley his present right now," which is not the play. So I ended up in a situation where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do two saves. One of them is gonna be sabotage Oakley and Daryl. The other one is gonna be get them together. And so I started to do my playthrough on one of them, and then at some point I got my wires crossed, and I ended up having the sabotage route go pretty much all the way through the game, and I did not have time to backtrack and do all of that shit over again because it was like 2 hours of dungeon. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sabotage Daryl and Oakley. Maybe I can do something else. But then when I got to you between nights 3 and 4, you get sucked into the Dream Eater's world again. Is that a thing that happens to you?
Yeah. And then is this where he
Okay.
tries to chop you up with a sword?
Yes. So he's running around with a sword, and Chemuel is there. Chemuel gets cut to pieces many times, and at the end of it, you get the option to either let Chemuel like profess his love, or you can show him a letter that was ripped up by the Dream Eater. And I was like, this seems really toxic. I think you got to get out of here. Here is the letter that is proof that the Dream Eater does not care. Um, and so I broke them up. And then when I had the option to give Robin the key, I was like, I think I need this key to get into the last part of the hotel. Uh,
Yeah.
so if I give it to you, I won't be able to do the last bit. And so I kept the key, which fucks Robin and uh, their boyfriend. So I basically broke everyone up, and then the only ending I could do was Clarissa's ending, which was I take Daryl's place as the right hand of the Duchess. So I am now in charge of like
You're getting the
uh,
meat.
bringing people to the Duchess to eat, and
What happens to
I
Daryl?
Daryl becomes meat. Daryl is one of the first
All right.
sacrifices you put into the kitchen.
At least he gets
Um,
his.
he certainly does. Oakley moves away. Samuel and the Dream Eater, I think they just die. You have a big boss fight in the
Just
cathedral.
they just
Uh,
drop dead.
yeah,
Little
Samuel
cutscene.
gets completely fucked up because he's getting cut to pieces. And Robin and Benedict cannot free Benedict from his servitude, and so he's stuck there forever. And Robin is pissed at you, and
Oh, no
also
shit.
you get you start going by a new name. Um, my new name, you get a choice. It's like something, and then Her Royal Deadness. And so I started going by Her Royal Deadness, and insisting to everyone that I talk to that I am not named Michelle anymore. I am Her Royal Deadness, and refusing to talk to them unless they referred to me as such. And then the very last part of the cutscene in the ending is you remember at the very beginning you are watching an episode of whatever show Michelle's ex girlfriend is on, And then it pans up, and Daryl is in front of you at the counter at the
Yes.
convenience store that you work at. So it does that same thing. We start to get another episode, and then it pans up, and then Michelle is the one who is doing the like, I'm just telling you that my life story to the poor helpless woman working at the counter. And so it seems as though I have not solved anything, and the cycle continues.
Okay.
Yep.
It
And
sounds like a
yeah,
pretty crummy ending.
yeah, it was pretty bad. I was like, I wish I had gone back when I still had the chance, but I thought I was on the right path. And then, according to my achievements, I gave conflicting. Where is it? Give opposing advice to Daryl or Chamuel on the third day, which is the indecisive achievement. So I fucked it up pretty severely. Uh, and Lucy doesn't like you either because in order to do Lucy's thing, you have to get 3 items, and if you do this in this order, you will not get any of those items. So,
Yeah, it's impressive
yeah,
that you got none of them. I got
yeah.
2 out of the 3.
Yeah, you pretty much
In
just
my
ruined everyone's lives.
in my other save, I had at least one of them. I think I got the true name from Daryl because I did the thing correctly. And I thought I was in that playthrough, but then I looked at my inventory and I was like, "Where's the thing?" And then Daryl was like, "We're
Why,
we're breaking up."
why do you suck?
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh well, I guess everything's fucked. I might as well fuck everything up."
Can we?
Amazing.
I'd like to take a step back just for a moment. What is the Dream Eater's head?
It's like a ball of goo or something.
All
Yeah, it's
goo.
like a
I thought it was.
weird, like, I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, I was like, is that a crow? And then I was like, I don't think it's a crow. And then I was like, is it like an angler fish? What is this thing?
Maybe
But it's
anglerfish.
Yeah,
Yes, I think sometimes I thought crow, sometimes I thought anglerfish.
okay. But it's just
depends
like
on the form too.
an amorphous blob, more or
Yeah.
less.
Mhm.
Yeah. One thing I just wanted to ask about, like, one of the central thesis of this game, I think, is that love changes you. It changes everyone involved, everyone who it touches. And I liked one of the central conceits is that the Duchess wants love but will not give it,
Yeah.
and love has to be given. Did any of that stuff, any of those themes really resonate with you? Do you think anything of what the game was trying to say with
It's
respect to
a very
relationships?
interesting meditation on the like, can love save everyone? Like that we sometimes get in games, and like, I don't know. I think everything does this a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and if you ask my playthrough, no, it does not. Love is a parasite, and we need to excise it.
Yeah, I think I didn't get that much mileage out of the like love part of it. I felt the game made more sense to me and was more interesting when it sort of backed off the idea of love and it was more just sort of a meditation on eroticism. Like everything in the Duchess's hotel is like I don't know if like erotic or like sexual or like there's some sort of like element of sexual desire going on, divorced of love in the Duchess's hotel, which makes sense, given what you said about her wanting it, but not willing to give it up. And I found that part the most compelling. The sort of angels and demons falling in love with each other has been done a lot. I mean, some ways better than others. I mean, I think Seven Deadly Sins is maybe one of the worst ways I've seen it done. So that did less for me than just like the Duchess's weird sort of like Hellraiser erotic, torture dungeon.
I really enjoyed the conceit that the, for the characters involved, there is tremendous power in distance, right? Like the angels and the demons, if they just stay away from each other, they stay all powerful immortal beings. And yet love and mutual attraction and relationship makes them both lesser and more, right? Like Chamuel and the Dream Eater, they are no longer these grotesque creatures that are all powerful and beyond human conception. They're just two people who get to live a life together. And choosing that over an immortal life that is in some ways limited because you can never really have a mutual loving relationship. I think there's a powerful statement there because that's not always how this stuff is framed. Usually it's framed as, oh, this is forbidden love because I'm an angel, you're a demon. We can't be together. It's forbidden for that reason. Here it's like, no, actually angels and demons are in relationships a lot in this game.
They are.
They say they are a lot like humans and demons. Humans and angels can be in relationships too. Go ahead, Em. You were saying something.
They do seem to be like I don't know if it's psychically or like fate seems to draw them to each other. Um, the demons are said to be like lusting after the love of God that they lost when they fell from heaven. And
I think
like,
Robin tells you that, right?
yeah. So they are looking for it in any place they can find it. Like Clarissa, who is working at the bar, has a performance that she does where at the end of it she like excises a demon, and they're like, "Isn't that really fucked up?" And someone I don't know who says this, but they're like, "That's like what the whole demon experience is leading towards. That's like what everyone wants is to feel that touch of like the divine again." And so by experiencing it at that last moment, they're like going back to some like primal like love that they have been missing for so long. And that's just like, whoa, that's like a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
I really like how much they ground the game story, which is otherwise otherworldly and fantastical and supernatural, in ultimately relationships, normal human seeming relationships. You know, Chamuel and the Dream Eater are in a long distance relationship that the Dream Eater thinks isn't going to work out, right? Like, thinks that I'm a bad partner. Chamuel
I,
deserves better than me, and Chamuel should stay away
I
because
have a question about that
yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Do you have a big boss fight with the Dream Eater at the end of that in your
Yes,
run?
you do.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did.
all right. So at the end of it, they just like turn into humans.
I do. Yeah, the Dream Eater's like, you need to keep Chamuel away from me. I'm going to ruin him.
Oh, hmm,
Um,
You
like,
can't talk to the Dream Eater. So every time you try, you just talk to Jamuel.
huh. That's interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
like even Robin and Benedict, who seem to have been in a loving relationship for centuries, but have been able to keep away from each other enough to not corrupt their divine powers. At the end of the game, if you keep them together, they both become human. It appears that they both become human. So ultimately, they would all rather live a mortal life together than an immortal life apart. And that's, I think, it's a cool thing to put into this game that's not that long. Um,
Yeah. I also just think it's the wrong choice, though. Like, find a different boyfriend and be immortal forever?
Hmm.
sure, but I
But
think that what the game argue, like one of the things in one of the
isn't
endings is
love
that
worth it?
the Duchess at one point says,
Mm,
"Humans, I understand why you die so young. It's exhausting to be in love like this. Like in less than 1 week of knowing Michelle, Duchess was more exhausted than at any point in their centuries long life because they had never felt anything like that before. And I think that
Damn.
you know, mileage may vary on the authenticity of that, but as a message, I think it's got some profundity to it.
that was like your polite way of being like, Pete might be cold and dead inside, but for the rest of us that feel feelings.
Oh,
Do we ever get an explanation for why Michelle's so special? Or is this just like, she's our protagonist, don't worry about it?
I mean, we don't get an explanation
Um,
other than the Dream Eater at the very beginning of the game tries to kill you because he says you have the power to change people's fates. So I guess she is somewhat foretold.
protagonist coded. Yes.
Yeah, protagonist coded. Yep.
Right. Yeah, I
Identify.
mean, that's fair. You don't have to. I mean, why would we be playing somebody who isn't the protagonist? You don't have to explain it. I was just curious.
I mean, that's the only explanation is like the Dream Eater says, I've known you've been coming before you were even born, and I need to stop you. So, like, it's prophecy and fate stuff. All right. And with that, sorry we're closed. Sorry we're closed. Pete, I believe it is your turn to pick something.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to pick a game that I've had bookmarked for a very long time. You'll probably be able to tell that when I tell you what it is. It was a game that would have made a lot more sense for us to have played, I don't know, call it 5 years ago now. But to hell with it, we're playing it now. It's also, for you and our listeners, 75% off until June 12th. I recommend buying it if you can. Yep. But I want to play Plague Inc. Evolved.
Okay.
So I've had this bookmarked basically since COVID,
What?
and we're finally going to play it.
Interesting.
It's a puzzle game, kinda.
It's a unique mix of high strategy and terrifyingly realistic simulation, according to the Steam copy.
This is gonna
It's
make
gonna
me
be
feel things,
interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
It seems like it's a puzzle thing. I don't know.
It is, but we all lived it.
That's true.
Did
Let's
live
see
it.
how we feel about this.
All right. We will be playing Plague Inc. Evolved on the next show. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, a very interesting game all around. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you, M.
Thank you for actually let me thank Braden Arbitrary Water Redacted for telling me that this is a game that we should play many times. We finally knocked it off the list, and it was pretty good. So Braden was right.
Braden was right. And Braden, if you're listening right now, hope you enjoyed hearing us say that. I aspire to never say it again.
At least we didn't
And
have to say
thank you.
ZP was right.
Yeah, thankfully that's never happened, and I don't think it will. But Braden, you got it this time. And thank you, dear listeners. A reminder, you can get in touch with the show. deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com is our email address, and deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Till next time, peace.